Pokémon Legends ZA Mega Dimension is the kind of DLC that can really make or break a game when it comes to player investment. It can either keep fans playing for months and years to come, or it can have them bouncing from boredom. Releasing just under 2 months after the base game, Mega Dimension is packed full of new Pokémon and Mega Evolutions, but it's an admittedly exhausting and somewhat middling affair. Taking place shortly after the events of Pokémon Legends ZA, Mega Dimension lets you encounter new characters, including Ansha and her Hoopa, which allows you to travel to Hyperspace Lumiose. Ansha really wants to find Rayquaza, which she spotted before arriving on Hotel Z's rooftop, and so Team MZ agrees to help. What follows is a lot of traveling through portals and a kind of gauntlet of gathering research points and fighting the new Rogue Mega Evolutions. Powerful new enemies create quite the challenge. Mega Dimension introduces Pokémon with levels over 100, which means you should come prepared. You can't even play the DLC without beating the main story of Legends ZA, but your first encounter still pits you against multiple Pokémon that are level 115, which is a pretty sharp difficulty curve. Over the course of the DLC, you'll face increasingly powerful creatures, creating challenging fights against Rogue Mega Evolved Pokémon. If you found recent Pokémon games to be a bit too easy, then this DLC is for you. You'll likely need to grind at times, and if you go into a battle unprepared, you will black out. If this sounds like a complaint, it's not. I found the additional challenges in Mega Dimension to be pretty nice, and some options will make it easier, although this is disabled a few times, so you still have to prepare. You'll also be required to get research points, which work essentially the same way as battle points, just by doing research on these surveys instead of chaining battle wins. That can add to the grind, since battling and researching don't always go hand in hand, leading to a less streamlined approach than what was seen in Legends ZA.
Hyperspace Lumiose can't overcome Legends ZA's Wild Zones issue.
Hyperspace Lumiose sounds cooler than it really is. For the most part, it's a black and white reskin of areas you've seen in Lumiose City already. The various portals you enter have the same issue that many Wild Zones have in Legends ZA's base game. They're simply too small. There are new areas that look different, but they're few and far between, and mostly at the end of the DLC's main storyline. Hyperspace Lumiose is fun for a while, but after seeing so many of the same, colorless buildings and landscapes, it can get tedious. It would have been nice to see new, fresher-looking zones, like what Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra did for Sword and Shield, or Teal Mask and Indigo Disk did for Scarlet and Violet. What we're left with in Mega Dimension feels lackluster by comparison.
New Mega Evolutions don't outweigh bigger issues. The new Mega Evolutions were already a heavy part of Mega Dimension's promotional materials, and this is where the DLC really succeeds. A lot of the new designs, especially for the Z-types, are really great. The designs alone are enough of an incentive to play, even if the shine wears off over time. And that's really the most significant issue here. Despite having some really cool new Pokémon designs, Mega Dimension never really justifies why it exists. The story isn't all that compelling, but rather an excuse to send you on an expansive series of surveys that lead to gathering a slew of new Pokémon just for the sake of having them. And if you've played recent games, then you likely have caught these Pokémon many times before. Even the new Mega Evolutions, which are overall great, feel like you're simply catching them and moving on before you can really feel any kind of catharsis or payoff for doing so. It feels like you're checking names off a list, which, after a while, feels about as exciting as checking names off a list. Somehow, Mega Dimension takes what is arguably the coolest Pokémon gimmick ever and makes it feel exhausting. Mega Dimension won't convince the haters.
Whether you love or hate Mega Dimension will probably come down to how much you enjoy Pokémon Legends ZA already. If you were disappointed by its heavy emphasis on battles and somewhat repetitive gameplay loop, then nothing here is going to change your mind. It's really just more of that, but cranked up to 11. I had a great time with Legends ZA, but even I felt burned out a bit by the end of it all. While I found Legends ZA's approach to battles and wild zones refreshing and fine for a one-off game, Mega Dimension retains all those issues but feels even more repetitive and grindy, perhaps highlighting why it's best for the series not use this approach in future entries. There's a lot to like here, and it runs great on Switch too, but it also feels like the post-game content that should have just been in Legends ZA to begin with. It's not all bad though. Many of the new Mega Evolutions have great designs, and if you are invested in X and Y story, then you'll see some nice character-related payoffs over the course of the DLC. Despite not loving Mega Dimension, there were a number of moments I enjoyed seeing unfold on screen, and it was nice to see it lean into its Kalos connections from the Gen 6 games. At $30, I'm not wholly convinced the price is justified. There's a lot to like here, and it runs great on Switch too, but it also feels like the post-game content that should have just been in Legends ZA to begin with. In terms of previous DLCs for Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, Pokémon Legends ZA Mega Dimension just doesn't feel up to snuff.